Yep, there he is. Greg, we were just talking about you. That was perfect timing. How are you? Oh, I don't have any audio. Let me get you unmuted there. Okay, there
I'm
you.
on mute, I think. Yeah.
Yes. How are you? You came in just as I was holding up your book.
Oh, I like that book.
Yes, that was.
I do
Look,
too, Greg. I love it. I love it.
that's right. This was perfect timing. Um,
Yes.
so thank you, Greg Palast, for joining me today, joining us today. And
Yes.
this is the premiere of Overlay Underlay. It's a
Okay.
talk show that I will be hosting every Thursday at 7. And Overlay for the Underlay is a saying that few of us in my social network have been using for decades. And overlay for the underlay is exactly what it is, where we see narratives that people put out as being the truth. That's the overlay. When they are actually doing some devious things, which is the underlay. And so I'm here to bring forth the underlay of the overlay they want us to believe. And
Yeah.
that's such
Well,
a great lead in for you because in your work as an investigative journalist, you've been doing just that. And I'm excited. I'm excited to have you here. Look, I'm giving you a round of applause.
yeah. Okay. I'll assume that there's applause out there, or maybe
Yes,
some
applause.
boos.
That's
But
right.
but
We're
I'll
we're clapping for you. But would
thank
you
you.
please introduce yourself?
Sure.
And one thing that we will be talking about is your work in relation to Georgia. And
Yes.
you don't live here, but we'll talk about it. But yes, please introduce yourself and then tell us a bit about your work, and then we'll talk about your book.
Well, I've been investigating for Al Jazeera, for Rolling Stone, for Salon, for The Guardian, and several other papers.
Wow.
But mainly
Wow.
for Rolling Stone. I've been investigating Georgia for 7 years now. When are you guys going to
Wow.
get your act together so I can stop going to Atlanta,
That's so
especially in the
great.
sure. Summer when it's icky? You know, so
Yes, that
okay.
is
So
so
let me
right.
explain. As you see from the hat, I'm an investigative reporter. I've been doing this for 25 years, but in the last 20 years, I've been concentrating on what the rest of the media tends to call vote suppression.
Okay.
But I got to tell you, as you well know, if someone steals your car, you don't say, my car's been suppressed. My car's been suppressed. No, it's been stolen. And they're stealing votes. And they're not just stealing votes randomly. We know that they're stealing votes from voters of color. And Georgia is the center of the vote thieving operation. You're the test ground. You're where they take the methods of blocking voters of color for a test drive. And when that works in Georgia, you take it nationwide. Now, of course, Georgia's important. You are a swing state, and
Yeah.
the census, though they'll probably cheat, the census should this year show that Georgia is the first Deep South white minority state. So what's going on? So how do you end up with a deep red state government? Well, the answer is because there just ain't enough white guys in Georgia to elect old white guys to elect Brian Kemp and his crowd. So they went about eliminating the non-white guys.
That's right.
So let me go to 2018 when I was first in 16, then I went to 18 when Stacey Abrams was running against Brian Kemp. And I
Right.
first encountered Stacey Abrams. In fact, you'll see Stacey Abrams in my book. I interview her and Kemp in How Trump Stole 2020. The interview with Stacey Abrams was it was actually quite intellectual, actually, very intellectual and detailed and going into some of the material. In fact, she found some stuff I didn't find. You know, Brian Kemp accused people of moving over 500,000 people of leaving the state, moving out of the state. And one question is, where are all the moving trucks?
Yes.
And he was removing these people from the voter rolls, but it included people who moved into the state. And Stacey Abrams found that for me. She says, these people are moving into the state, not out. But who is it that they're blocking who moved into the state? Well, we had a Gulf War veteran who contacted me because I sued Brian Kemp, the Palast Investigative Fund, my not-for-profit foundation, sued Brian Kemp in federal court and won. In fact, not only did we win, but the judge, we didn't even have to have a trial. The judge said that Brian Kemp's nonsense statements to the court were basically baloney, didn't believe a word him and his successor were saying. And so they said, Greg Palast wins, open up your files, and by the way, pay his lawyers. So we got the list of people that Brian Kemp removed from the voter rolls, including Christine Jordan. Now, I was at the polling station in November of 2018 with Christine Jordan. She was going there to vote for her 50th year at the same schoolhouse in Atlanta. 50 years.
That's right. I remember that. Yeah.
And she went in and they said, no, you can't vote here. You're not registered here.
And she had been voting there for decades.
50. This is going to be her 50th year.
Yeah.
Because she'd been voting for the 5 decades since her cousin, Martin Luther King, was murdered. Yeah. King used to come to her. I only found out that King was her cousin when I went to her house and I saw pictures of King having dinner with the family. I said, oh, he came over for dinner once? She says, no, every Sunday. So if they can remove Christine Jordan's vote after 50 years, they can go after yours. And they did after many. Yes. So but of course, while she was accused of leaving her home, she's been there almost the entire century of her life. But what was her crime? Her crime was voting while black. You know it. I know it. I caught him. Now, how did I catch them? Brian Kemp said all these people moved. How does he know you moved? Oh, he says that you've missed a couple of elections. By the way, Christine Jordan never missed an election. Are you kidding? They say you missed a couple of elections. Well, so what? You have a right not to vote if you don't want to. And they send you a postcard. It looks like junk mail. You throw it away. So they say, well, if you've missed an election and didn't see our postcard, well, obviously you've left the state. You know that Justice Breyer of the Supreme Court said, well, if that's true, where are all the moving trucks? I mean, where are all the moving trucks? With these 500,000 people, 500,000 families leaving. So what we did was I said, how do I know if someone's moved or not? Well, I literally try to call up as many as I could, but there's 500,000. So I went to the people that know where you live. I went to Amazon and eBay's experts. And you have to understand, they know exactly where you were last Thursday at 2 p.m. I'm sorry. There's no hiding from Amazon. They have 240 databases. They know where you downloaded your movies. They know where you've ordered pizza. They know where you got your socks. They know all these things and your cable bill and everything else. They've got it all. And so they know exactly where you live. And they said, guess what? They didn't just do a sample. They went through every single name, every voter who was wiped out by Brian Kemp. And they said, here's the list of 340,134 people who've never moved that Brian Kemp erased from the voter rolls saying that they left Georgia or Atlanta.
That is fabulous.
A third of 1 million Georgians were removed from the voter rolls for leaving the state, and they're right there.
Right.
They're right there, like Christine Jordan, like Jasmine Bakhtiar, like Raheem Shabazz, the radio personality. All these people were on the scrub list, lost their vote. And also, by the way, that's just the beginning, the third of 1 million. Because if you move within your county, you don't have to re-register in Georgia. That's federal law. I mean, you can move. Most people move in their neighborhood. So there's another 100,000 people in there. So it gets towards 500,000 people wrongly, illegally removed from the voter rolls of Georgia. And that's the story that I've been investigating. And by the way, I'm continuing on that. I'm now looking at the latest in the purge game by Kemp's successor. But it's definitely, look, this is happening all over America. So they took the Kemp game, which defeated Stacey Abrams by eliminating her voters.
Yes.
And they took it to Ohio, where 800,000 people have been removed. They've taken it to 25, 30 states, removing, in the past 2 years, are you ready for this? 16.7 million people have been purged from the voter rolls.